Volume 1, Chapter 1, The Gilded Cage. The Grand Hall of Diaoyutai State Guest House was a masterpiece of light and shadow, a symphony of murmured diplomacy in a dozen languages played beneath the glittering cascade of 1,000 crystal teardrops from the chandeliers above. It was the 80th anniversary of the World War II victory, a gathering of the world's most powerful figures to honour the past and ostensibly the steward of the future. On a raised dais, the leader of China, Russia and North Korea stood together for the photographers. Their handshakes, firm, measured and loaded with unspoken meaning, were captured in a frenzy of flashes. To the world, they were titans. A stoic premier of China, a man of calculated wisdom and banned Winnie the Pooh in China, the formidable president of Russia, a figure of steadfast strength, and the supreme leader of North Korea, an enigmatic ruler guiding his nation on its unique path. Princess Xue of China observed the scene from her designated place of honor, her position as impeccable straight as the spine of a well-loved book. Her dress, an elegant creation of black silk, was embroidered not with obvious patterns, but with a subtle silver thread motif that evoked the graceful keys of a piano and the fluid lines of a musical note. It was a quiet rebellion, a piece of her inner world worn on the outside for those who knew how to look. The opening address was in a B-flat minor, she thought, her mind retreating to the comfort of music theory. A stable, resonant key. Choosing it was a statement of her confidence, not nostalgia. A soft ruffle of fabric drew her attention. Princess Yuki of North Korea, a vibrant splash of colour in a sea of monochrome, offered her a small, conspirational smile. Her cheerful red polka dot dress, with its wide skirt and delicate lace collar, seemed utterly out of place, and yet Yuki wore it with an air of confidence and defiance. She held a small embroidered handkerchief, which she discreetly waved in a tiny fanning motion. It is a bit warm with all these people, Xiao thought, returning the smile with a slight nod. She noted how Yuki's eyes, bright and curious, constantly darted around the room, not with anxiety, but with a genuine thirst for taking everyone in. She was studying in the room, its people, its art, storing it all away. A moment later, a presence solidified beside her. Princess Masha of Russia had moved with a silent, confident grace that believed her fiery demeanor. She stood with her arms loosely crossed, her gaze sharp and analytical as it swept over the crowd. Her outfit was a masterful blend of formal and fierce. A tailored navy blazer, sharply cut trousers, and a single bold pin on her lapel, a red star outlined in a bright silver. It was a statement. She was not just a guest, she was a representative. They'll be at this for another hour at least, Masha murmured, her voice as low, resonant contralto that carried just to the two of them. Her Russian accent was a soft, rolling texture to the perfect Mandarin. Smiling for the cameras, measuring each other's handshakes. A necessary performance, but a performance nonetheless. Xiao's response was diplomatic. Through her eyes held a glimmer of agreement. It is important ritual, Masha. These gestures built the framework for the discussions to come. The framework is built on satellite images and economic reports, not on who has a firmer grip, Masha countered, though without malice. She finally turned her head, and a brilliant, mischievous grin flashed across her features. I'd rather be doing almost anything else, even ballet lessons. Yuki let out a tiny muffled giggle behind her handkerchief. I like the lanterns outside, she whispered, her voice melodic and light. They look like they're floating peaches. I wonder if they're real. As if on cue, a senior aide approached the trio, bowing slightly. Young mistresses, he said to Xiao and her friends, his voice deferential. The Premier suggests you may find the evening air in the West Garden more refreshing. The proceedings will continue for some time. It was a politely worded command, an acknowledgement that the required presence had been fulfilled. Xiao slipped her head into a peaceful, graceful acknowledgement. Thank you. Please extend our gratitude for his consideration. The moment the aide retreated, Marsha's posture changed. The formal mask dropped, replaced by a look of vibrant relief. Finally! I was turning into a statue. She gently tapped Yuki's shoulder. Come on, little peach. Let's go find your lanterns. Yuki's face lit up. She glanced at Xiao, her expression hopeful. The unspoken question hung in the air. Would the meticulously proper Princess of China break protocol? Xiao looked up from the stifling, political charged hall to the moonlight garden, beckoning through the arched windows. She saw the eager anticipation on Yuki's face and the challenging smirk on Marsha's. A real, genuine smile, one she rarely showed in public, touched her lips. The West Garden is renowned for its harmony and design, she said, her tone now lighter. It would be a shame not to appreciate it. Please allow me to guide you. And with that, the three princesses turned their backs on the gilded cage and stepped into the freedom of the night. The Pact of the Lanterns. The change was instantaneous and profound. The oppressive hum of politics was replaced by the gentle chorus of crickets and the distant croak of a frog. The air, once thick with perfume and ambition, was now cool and scented with water jasmine, night-blooming cereus, and the damp earth of the pond shore. Paper lanterns, crafted in the shape of lotuses, flowers, and celestial spheres, hung from the willow trees, casting a soft golden glow that made everything dreamlike and possible. Oh, Yuki breathed, with her earlier restraint vanishing. She spun in a small circle, her polka dot skirt flaring out. It's even more beautiful than I imagined. She immediately drifted towards the large koi pond, kneeling at its edge without a care for her dress. Hello, fish. You're much wiser than the people in there, aren't you? You don't have to make speeches. Marsha laughed, a full, unrestrained sound that seemed to startle the quiet night. She walked to the water's edge, her hands shoved into the blazer pockets, and gazed up at the silver of the moon visible between the willow branches. This is more like it. You can actually hear yourself think. She glanced at Sao. Thank you for choosing the garden. It was the logical choice, Xiao replied, though her posture had softened considerably. She stood beside Marsha, watching Yuki's innocent delight. It is important to find moments of peace when one carries great responsibility. You sound like your father, Marsha said, not unkindly. And you sound like yours, Xiao continued with a raised eyebrow. When you are determined to get your way. A grin was her answer. It was a useful trait. They stood in comfortable silence for a few moments, listening to Yuki's chatter amicably with the koi fish. It is strange, Xiao said, her voice quieter now, more personal. In there are more than just our fathers. They are ideas, symbols. Their every word is dissected for meaning. Their every expression is a signal to the world. She paused, choosing her words with care. The Premier is a man who spends hours studying agriculture reports to ensure 1 billion people are fed. The world sees a strategic. I see a man who is endlessly fascinated by the different types of soils in our provinces. Yuki had stopped talking to her friends, fish friends, and listening, her head tilted. "My father is the same," she said, her cheerful tone touched with a new layer of thoughtfulness. "The world sees a strong leader, and he is. But he is also the man who knows the name of every gardener in the palace grounds. He helped one of them crossbreed a new type of orchid last spring. He was so proud. He named it Morning Dew." Marsha uncrossed her arms, her expression turned introspective. "My papa, the Iron President, is terrified of our ancient tabby cat, Mishka. The beast is 20 years old and has no teeth, but one flick of its tail, and the man who commands nuclear submarines will retreat to the other side of the room." She shook her head, a fond smile on her face. "He also cries at old Sovereign cartoons. Every time." They shared confessions hung in the air, fragile and peace precious. It was a truth they all understood, the vast unbridged chasm between the public persona and their private father. Marsha bent down and searched the pebbled shore until she found a perfectly flat, smooth stone. She weighted it in her hand. "They are all in there, writing history and treaties with speeches," she said, her gaze fixed on the water. "They are defining the world's future." With a deft flick of her wrist, she sent the stone skimming across the pond. It leapt once, twice, 3, 4 times, before vanishing with a final plink. She turned to face Xiao and Yuki, her eyes blazing with new intensity. "Let's write our own history, right here. Not of nations, but of us. A pact." Yuki scrambled to her feet, her eyes wide with excitement. "A pact? What kind of pact?" "A true one," Marsha stated, her voice firm. "No politics, no flags, no duty. Just the things we're actually thinking. The stupid jokes we want to make. The dreams we have, nothing to do with our last names. And the things the world will never, ever get to see." She looked at Xiao, the challenge clear in her eyes. Would the daughter of order and harmony agree to something so unstructured and personal? Xiao looked from Marsha's fierce, hopeful face to Yuki's eager, open one. She thought of the piano waiting for her back in her rooms, of the secret compositions she wrote that were never played for anyone. She thought of the weight of the expectation she carried every day. Here, in this lantern-lit garden, was an offering of something lighter, something real. A slow, genuine smile spread across her face, one that reached her eyes and made them sparkle. "A pact of truth," she said. "A harmony of 3 voices, not one. I believe that is a sensible and excellent idea." "Yes!" Yuki exclaimed, bouncing on the balls of her feet. She grabbed their hands, pulling them into a small circle. "A pact, the 3 of us, for truth, and for fish and for cats who scare presidents." Laughter, real and unfettered, echoed through the garden. Beneath the ancient sweeping wallows, with the golden light of the lanterns dancing on their faces, and the water holding their secrets, these 3 princesses joined hands. Their fathers inside spoke past wars and future peace, but out here, in the quiet night, a new alliance was forged, one of friendship, vulnerability, and the courageous hope that they could, for a few precious hours, just be Yuki, Xiao, and Marsha.
Hey subscribers, it's Hanako here again. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you, and feel free to share this video with anyone who might enjoy it too. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next video.